The leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, is taking a break from politics in South Africa as he joins attendees for the award ceremony in Lagos. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu is expected to grace the occasion, as well as the President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is expected to chair the event. The leader of South Africa's third largest political party announced on his X page that he was in Nigeria to support Akinwumi Adesina, President of the Africa Development Bank. Adesina was selected by the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation as the fourth recipient of the prize for leadership. Organizers say Adesina, who was unanimously re-elected as the President of the Africa Development Bank for a second time in 2020, met the criteria.
And talking of other countries, I just have two people I want to just mention. Chair Gumede, please, from South Africa. Please, Juju, also from South Africa. Please rise. You will recognize him as being in the parliament in South Africa. Thank you for being here.
You know, there is a great and immortal Kiswahili saying that he or she who does not recognize his or her culture will be eternally a slave. And we are here, therefore, to remind ourselves that the time has come for Africa and Africans to demand of the world that we can no longer afford the misfortune of communing with other civilizations as if we are children of a lesser God.
We remain a conquered nation, even when we claim to have democracy. We remain a conquered nation because white monopoly capital still owns the means of production, and at the center of that, we are the only country where we say revolution has taken place, yet those who were oppressing us have not lost anything after the revolution. We remain as we were even before 1994. So we are saying that black people, all of us, we need to unite so that we can expropriate land without compensation. There is no white person who will understand that clarion call because they don't know the pain of being landless. Only those who have gone through a passage of being landless will appreciate where we come from on the issue of the land. The issue of the land should be an issue of commitment.
We are people of Nigeria. Welcome you to our inauguration. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Hope you enjoy your stay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm sorry for the poor quality of my voice because we are preparing to show the world that our democracy is strong and we are great people. On behalf of His Excellency Dr. Julius Malema, President of the Republic of Nigeria, and His Excellency President-elect Joseph Wakai, we welcome you to Liberia by the National Council of Chiefs and Elders. We are standing here accompanied by our sister, a strong woman, an advocate for the rights of women. We adore you, we admire you, we say thank you for a true Pan-Africanism. We also thank you for the legacy and diversity of our cultures that unite us as a people. You are welcome in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and the blessed Holy Spirit. May Allah be praised. May Allah be praised. May Allah
Council. Council.
Grace and faith.
You are welcome.
You are welcome. Thank you very much.
Mr. Julius Malema of South Africa. It's been received.
Queen Julie, Traditional Queen of Nigeria, and I present this as a particular is Ebola free, and it's one of my clothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll take you to the
Okay.
dance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you? Okay.
How do you feel being in Liberia at this time, along with the CRC of Liberia, Emmanuel Gongwe, all the time? I've been talking about you, and today the Liberians will be glad to meet you today.
Well, we are very happy to be in Liberia. This is our home. This is part of the continent of Africa. And I'm happy that EFF Liberia has been doing a good work to try and spread the message of economic freedom in our lifetime. We are here to witness democracy and freedom in action, because that's what we want to see in the continent, where elections are held, then the results are announced, and there is no spilling of blood of innocent people on the ground. And that is what we have decided. Why not? We are in a country that doesn't exist in isolation. That's why we say we want the continent to be one, because we believe with the unity of the continent, we are able to now earn our seat at the negotiating table. We can be able to say to UN Security Council, you were formed in this fashion before we decolonized ourselves and before we did away with oppression. Now we are independent, and this development must be taken into consideration post the World War II. It can't be that since the formation of this Security Council, there hasn't been a development in Africa, for Africa to earn a permanent seat in the UN and to democratize the UN Security Council, where no single country can veto the decision of the majority. It must be based on the principle of the majority rule, where once the majority have resolved that there must be ceasefire in Palestine, no America can come in and veto that. So it is this kind of global politics and progressive internationalism that allows us to subject ourselves to international, multinational bodies which govern and guide the whole world.
So I take it under the EFF, we will still see continuation of our agreements or treaty with America in terms of AGOA?
No. We'll renegotiate all of that, because we are not going to be a dumping site of America. Look at what AGOA has done to our chicken industry as an example, because Americans don't eat chicken feet and wings or something. whatever they don't eat from the chicken, they bring it, instead of throwing it away, they now package it and send it to us. And then those who produce chicken here can no longer sell those things to us because we can get them at an affordable rate because they are rejects. So we have to protect our infant industry against such powerful agreements. We cannot protect an agreement that says South Africa cannot, an agreement between South Africa and Germany, that South Africa cannot manufacture a car, that South Africa will only assemble cars from Germany. There is no question whether we can manufacture a car because we manufactured a fighting jet. That fighting jet was produced by us, and to an extent that the Chinese wanted to copy it. And the world is the world's best fighting jet. If we can do that, it's so obvious that we can produce and manufacture our own car. But our agreements makes it impossible. Okay, South Africa, you want to create jobs with your car manufacturing this and that, that's fine. We'll produce it here, send it to you, you will assemble it, and through assembling, you will make money. And you'll make jobs, you'll create jobs. We finance ourselves the assembling of cars instead of financing the manufacturing of cars because of those agreements. So we're not going to perpetuate unreasonable trading agreements which are not to the best interest of our country, and including the apartheid debt, by the way. When we come in, we have to talk to the IMF and the World Bank about the apartheid debt. That we hear the debt accumulated by the ANC, we hear that. But how do you expect us to pay for a debt that was accumulated by a system which was declared crime against humanity? We'll take them to International Court of Justice and say, this is the perpetuation of apartheid, which you declared crime against humanity. So anything that came about with apartheid, we cannot pay for it. We cannot pay for a system that oppressed us. That debt is the one that bought guns, firearms that were dumped in KZN, which are still a problem today. They were bought by that debt. Monies borrowed to go and buy weapons to come and kill us. And we, the survivors of such killings, are being told to pay for the money that was coming to kill us. It's unfair. It's unreasonable. It's an issue that when we take over, we shall mobilize the international community to demand the scrapping of the apartheid debt, because it was a debt that was aiming at killing us, and it's inhuman and more painful to be asked to pay for a weapon that was going to kill us.
I don't like apartheid, I don't like colonialism, but I support borders. The borders were imposed on us by the colonialists during the scramble for Africa. And therefore, in undoing the work of colonialism, the borders have to be done away with. And you can't say, when you do away with the borders, these people are going to come into South Africa because they are starving where they are. We are starving in Limpopo. There's no border between us and Gauteng. But we have not left our homes there, and Limpopo is peopleless because they went to Gauteng where there are resources, and because there is no border, they are flocking there. No one will ever abandon their countries to come here. All we are doing is, my sister, if you want to go to Nigeria to go and try some business opportunities or anything of that sort, wake up in the morning and go. Why are the Europeans allowed to do it? They eat breakfast in Milan in Italy and go and sleep in Paris without a hassle. And we are not allowed because the unity of Africa is a threat to certain people. There is no, and I say this all the time, they say, no, these foreigners take our jobs and all of that. I say, if we find a foreigner working here at Kaya FM, he didn't employ himself. He was employed by the bosses here. So you cannot fight this one. You have to fight the bosses that we must be given a preference, which we agree with. But let's not allow them to make us fight amongst ourselves because they enjoy that. They hire foreigners and then they come to you and say, you can't get jobs because foreigners have taken jobs all over. But who employs these people? It's the same people.
The trade minister of Zimbabwe this week said something, which is an irony because I don't know if there's trade in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
That's not the point. Well,
there is trade.
She said that no foreigner should run businesses in Zimbabwe. I mean, that feels like a slight on you saying, across the road,
so, my bra, because someone is doing something wrong and says something wrong, now must join that so that we must be equal. No, I can't. That's what they believe in. And I don't know who will go to Zimbabwe now to go and do business there. Especially the fields that he's talking about. I know Zimbabwe is trading tobacco. There is still gold. There is platinum. Actually, some studies were suggesting that our Zimbabwean platinum and our platinum and that of Zimbabwe combined constitute almost 85% of the world.
It's very possible.
Yeah, so there's still platinum there. So there's some trade going on. Whether they are doing it right or not, I don't know. But that's where the Chinese interests come in. But we're not saying no foreigner must come and trade in South Africa. Because Zimbabweans are no foreigners in South Africa. They're Africans. So that's why you are wrong in your joke to say we are all going to be South Africans. We are all going to go back to being Africans. Because that's the problem with you South Africans. You think you are a Europe of Africa, that you are not part of the continent. We need to go back to our continent and identify with it, and it must be borderless. And borderless does not mean criminality. Europeans have a borderless continent called Europe. They trade with ease. You can have a breakfast.
They travel with ease. They go to a football match the same night they back home.
You have breakfast in Milan, in Italy, and then sleep in London with no hassle. So, and then when it comes to us, because the unity of Africans threatens them, they say no.
Well, don't get me wrong. You know, personally, if you gave all Ethiopian women South African citizens, I'd be the happiest.
Many young Ghanaians gathered at the College of Physicians and Surgeons in Accra to listen to the astute South African politician and Pan-Africanist. Julius Malema stepped on the podium and called on young people to hold their leaders accountable. He said corruption pervades many African countries, including Ghana, and is eroding the gains achieved after independence from colonial rule. He urged young people in Africa to champion the ideals of Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah.
Political freedom that Kwame Nkrumah achieved and generations after him achieved is meaningless without economic freedom. You can vote until you are purple. As long as there is no bread on the table, that vote is meaningless.
It's an election year for both Ghana and South Africa, and as both countries gear up for the polls, political and social activists are rallying young people to make meaningful contributions that will decide their own future. Malema also emphasized the need for a united Africa.
We must create a solid foundation for one Africa, because one Africa is a threat to Europe and America. Africa with one president, Africa with one currency, Africa with one military command, Africa with one parliament.
Malema's message struck a chord with the young people who came to listen to him, but some believe it may be difficult to achieve this.
We have 56 heads of state, but when we are invited to UN at the Security Council, we don't have even a single voice. So it's high time Africa must have a unified force who will be cheering up and pushing the Africa agenda. So one Africa has to be established.
Our minds have been programmed to make us believe we are different. And as long as we do not dismantle those imaginary and mental barriers, it's going to be very difficult for us to see ourselves as one.
The event was organized by socialist movement group Arise Ghana. Beyond the discussions held at this event, Pan-Africanists hope young people in Ghana and the rest of the continent will take steps to play key roles in changing the face of politics on the continent. They believe the voices of young people need to be heard in shaping democracy and demanding a united Africa.
When I say Amandla, you say Awed. When I say Maibu, you say Africa. And when I say Africa, you say Maibu. Amandla! Amandla! Maibu, Africa! Juju, speak to your people.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me take this opportunity to send revolutionary greetings to the esteemed professor, a friend of mine and a brother, dear Lord Mumba. Let me also greet our mother, the founder of this important university, Mama Martha Kasanga Mulwa, and greet your husband, wherever he is, that he left us a lasting legacy that we stand to celebrate here today. The leadership and academic staff, our Vice Chancellor, the Chancellor is here, and all the staff members who are here today to celebrate with us. And we also want to send our revolutionary greetings to the leadership of our province, what we call a province, here you call it sub-national, the governor, and all the politically elected leaders who are here today. We are really grateful for your presence. Let me also send my greetings to the Lukenya University students and members of the community, members of the media and fellow Africans. Today it feels good to be African. Right here in Kenya, a place we call our home, because all of Africa is our home. No one can ever say to me, welcome to Kenya or Kenya or Nairobi, as if I'm a visitor. I regard no part of Africa as being foreign to me, because Africa, all of it, belongs to me and I belong to Africa.